everybody, it's Oscar back again with another video. Hope you guys are all doing great, and today we're going to be talking about why I switched from this Canon 8D to what you're looking at right now, which is a Sony a7R II, and let's get right into it. For first off, I guess I'll start off by talking about specs of both cameras. So this 8D is a crop sensor, 24 megapixel camera. I got the specs on my screen right here. So crop sensor, 24 megapixel camera. It's I guess one of Canon's best on the lower end, cheapest vlogging camera you can get. So you just slap a 10 to 18 on this, or whatever kind of wide angle lens you want to use, and it's super easy. You got this screen that kind of folds, and you can see yourself while you're recording, so that was a good thing. I kind of wanted to get into vlogging like 2-3 years ago back in high school, but never really did. So I mean, I used it for a few videos here and there for cars, but it doesn't have like inbuilt stabilization like the Sony does, so it's not as good. But for photos, it's exceptional. So as many people know, Canon cameras are pretty good for their colors. So I guess I'll put some pictures of some photos that I took with this camera on the screen, so you guys can kind of see what it kind of does. And yeah, so okay, let's get into the specs of the Sony, which you're looking at right now. So specs of the a7R II, 42 megapixel full frame, the world's first back illuminated full frame CMOS sensor. So pretty much you're taking double the amount of pixels in this sensor into that camera, which makes it exceptional in low light and pretty much everything. You can zoom in programs, and you can literally see the skin cells almost, so it's crazy. Okay, so another thing was, so this camera ISO only goes up to 16,000, whereas the a7R II goes from 100 to basically 102,400. So you pretty much have 4 or 5 times the amount of expandability on ISO, or like range. You could use ISO with the a7R II, whereas compared to this one, this one did have the dual pixel autofocus, which is super good. Considering the a7R II, if you use native lenses, it's gonna be super quick with the autofocus and pretty spot on most of the time. So there's no worry about there's no worry about focusing with that camera. One downside is the a7R II batteries are basically like this small, whereas the Canon batteries were basically like that big. So the battery on this pretty much lasted me a full day at a drift event, where if I use the a7R II, I'm gonna have to bring 2 or 3, or just bring a battery grip, which holds 2. So batteries are one little thing on the Sonys that aren't that good, but I'll put some pictures that I've taken with the Sony kind of side by side with the camera, and you can kind of see the amount of detail with the Sony compared to the Canon. But the Canon, I still think, has better colors, although, you know, learning a new camera, you learn how to edit differently. The new editing style, you can basically make the pictures look like you're using any type of camera, so there's no worry about that one. Another thing, this camera only shot 1080p, whereas the a7R II shoots 4K, so that was one thing. And the size difference is pretty major too. So this is pretty bulky in my hand, and it's pretty large, whereas the a7R II, I'm basically holding it like that, where it's pretty small. It fits in a camera bag nice, and well, this thing fits in a camera bag, but this thing is even smaller. So I mean, it's not as intimidating, let's say, if you're like in front of the camera. But I also like the more modern look of the Sony with the littler buttons, and it's more kind of blocked off, whereas this has a lot of curves. Now, I did make the switch from this camera to the Sony about 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in the summertime. So I mean, if you are still considering if you want to switch from Canon to Sony, the EOS R, I've seen pictures and videos with that thing. That's pretty good. And Canon, I mean, they keep pushing out cameras. So if you still want to stay with Canon, they did just come out with the EOS R, which is a mirrorless, still crop sensor cameras, whereas the Sony a7R II is a full frame. Now I'm pretty sure the EOS R is a crop sensor camera, just because the Canon's website only says CMOS sensor, whereas the Sony's website says full frame CMOS sensor, so I'm guessing the Canon is still a crop sensor. Still, I've seen pictures with that thing, they're pretty good. Video looks pretty good too, so that's still a good option. But I still went for the Sony just because the low light capabilities and all that. Sony just ticked off every single box for me in the 2 years ago when I was looking for it, and I basically did research on the Sony a7R II for about a year before I bought it. So if you're looking to switch from Canon to Sony, I'd recommend it. But if you want to stay with Canon, then, I mean, it's all you. It's what you want, and yeah. I hope this video kind of touched base on what the differences between this camera and the a7R II are. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you're not subscribed yet, please do that. It'd mean a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.